100 meters. Coming up next, David Patrick runs his semifinal heat of the 400-meter hurdles when we return to Barcelona.
Tom, the 400 hurdles is one of track and field's toughest events as the athletes sprint the distance of 4 football fields while going over hurdles 36 inches in height. It's 45 meters to the first hurdle and then 35 meters between the hurdles. There are 10 hurdles in all, and the athletes must remain in their lanes, so they begin in staggered starts. The inside lane is the toughest lane to run because of the tight turn. From the last hurdle to the finish line is 40 meters.
And welcome back to Barcelona. Tom Hammond and Craig Masbach. And this is the night that the Patrick family takes center stage. Sandra Farmer Patrick and her husband David Patrick competing in the 400-meter hurdles. We'll see David first, and he is in that toughest lane you just mentioned, the inside lane.
Lane 1. It's so tight. Your steps are so important in this event as you try to carve a precise pattern of steps between each hurdle. He'll have to adjust to that. It should be noted, in 1988, in the Olympic trials, he was in lane 1. That's when he missed the Olympic team by mere hundredths of a second.
And there is David Patrick in lane 1, and while he may not care for that lane assignment, he certainly likes this track. He won the 400-meter hurdles at the World Cup over this track in 1989.
Tom, I asked him, what about lane 1? And he said, in the 1972 Olympics, John Akibua of Uganda won the Olympics in lane 1. He's confident he can make the final.
Also in this first semifinal, in lane 4 is Chris Akabusi of Great Britain, bronze medalist at the World Championships. He was 6th in Seoul.
He anchored the 4x400-meter relay for Great Britain that beat the United States in Tokyo. Didn't start this event until age 28 3 years ago.
And from the U.S., McClinton Neal, the 1991 NCAA champion from Texas, Arlington.
Has a very sore left tendon in his upper hamstring muscle.
Here are the lane assignments. Patrick on the inside, Neal on the outside, and Akabusi in between, lane 4.
David Patrick was unsure of even making it to the second round of the Olympic trials. Went on to finish second in the trials, surprising even himself. He says he's much more ready for the Olympics than he was for the trials.
His wife, Sandra Farmer Patrick, runs in the women's 400 hurdles later tonight. Approaching the first hurdle. And David Patrick is over the first one in good shape. Diagana of France is also running well.
There's Patrick in that inside lane. Very tough to maintain the rhythm of steps when you have the tight turns to run, so he's trying to go wild down the backstretch.
Diagana of France has a slight lead. Akabusi of Great Britain, David Patrick trying to make it up from that inside lane, and McClinton Neal on the extreme outside.
Neal running well in the middle of the screen. Diagana has set 4 French records this year.
Diagana has the lead. Diagana's in front. And now, Chris Akabusi takes command. Akabusi leads over the final hurdle. They're coming to the finish. It's Akabusi, Diagana, then Wallenland of Sweden, and David Patrick finished 4th to just barely advance to the final.
He has to hope he gets a little bit more lucky with the lanes in the final. All the way on the right of the screen is David Patrick at this point, back in around 5th. A tough fight for 5th. Moves up quickly, though. He's a strong runner. Used to run the 800 meters, ran in that distance in the World Championships in 1983. Akabusi pulls away. Diagana sets, I think, yet another French record, and Patrick qualifies.
Here are the official results then in the men's 400-meter hurdles. Akabusi wins 48.01, followed by Diagana, Wallenland, and Patrick. Now to Dwight Stones. Now the second semifinal in the men's 400-meter hurdles, featuring Kevin Young of the United States, who was 4th in the 1988 Olympics.
Young grew up in Watts, went to Jordan High School, the same high school as Flojo.
And Sam Matete of Zambia, world champion in 1991. He also won the 1991 NCAA championship, running for Auburn.
His coach, Steve Sylvie, his former coach at Blinn Junior College, who still works with him, says that lane 1 is no problem for Sam Matete. Some irony there. He started running the 400-meter hurdles after meeting John Akibua, the 1972 Olympic champion, at the 87 African Championships.
Matete is in lane 1. Kevin Young in lane 5.
Kevin Young's coach, John Smith, has taken him aside and said, "It's your turn now." All the others have had their shot. You've waited long enough. It's time to become the Olympic champion.
Kevin Young in lane 5. They approach the first hurdle. And Matete away quickly in lane 1.
Kevin Young is starting to make up the stagger on Kenyor outside of him, and he's just amazing down this backstretch, third from the left of the screen. Those long legs of his just eat up the track.
Kevin Young running quickly into the turn for home. Matete down in lane 1. They're approaching the top of the stretch. Winthrop Graham of Jamaica also making up ground as they come through the home stretch. Kevin Young now being passed by Winthrop Graham. And Matete is third as he stumbles over a hurdle. Graham edges Young. Matete third.
47.62.
That's the fastest time in the world this year.
Second fastest semifinal run ever. Kevin Young and Winthrop Graham battling down the home stretch just as they did in Tokyo. Graham, the silver medalist at the World Championships. Look at Matete, the champion, snagged that hurdle, and he snagged the hurdle in the other lane, which leads me to believe he's dragging that following leg. Better hope that the officials didn't really get a good view of that. Kevin Young strains for the tape, obviously interested in showing Winthrop Graham that he's somebody to be reckoned with. There you see the world champion, Sam Matete. Now watch his right leg. That's the following leg going over this hurdle into the lane of Sven Nylander from Sweden. What was he supposed to jump over? There wasn't even a hurdle there. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Swedes protested this.
So here are the results, barring a further protest. Winthrop Graham in 47.62. Personal best for he and for Kevin Young, 47.63. As you see the other qualifiers, and now the field set for the final tomorrow night. Kevin Young and David Patrick of the U.S. advancing. McClinton Neal did not. Still to come. He has been disqualified after a protest by the French and the Swedish, and this is the revised order of finish. Here's what happened.
There's Matete on the right in the yellow. He drags his leg over not only his hurdle, but into the other lane, knocks over the hurdle of Sven Nylander of Sweden. Rule 163 of international track rules specify that you must run the hurdles in your own lane, and you must bring your leg over the hurdle in your own lane. He drags his foot and is disqualified.
So Sam Matete, favored by many to win the gold medal in the 400-meter hurdles, has been disqualified. And here is a revised list of those that will make up the final.